June 17th, 1993, Tawnee Marie Baird is born to adoring parents, Dana Anderson and Casey Baird.
I remember just coming out of Mama's belly, and I called her Ladybug. She was a lady and a bug, and she was my ladybug.
She was a very happy baby. Like, honestly, always had a smile on her face when all this huge blonde hair and big blue eyes come into the world.
She becomes the light of your life. So very happy, a real calm baby, easy, good-natured.
Just full of life and full of sparkle, and she's an angel. I remember teaching her to ride her first bike. And I'm pretending I'm holding on the seat, and I'm running behind her, and I didn't have my hand on the seat. She was riding.
The family lives in the quiet and safe city of Holiday, Utah.
Holiday is a very quaint, smaller subdivision within the Salt Lake Valley, and it's pretty quiet. There's not a lot of crime. The community there is a little older. They've been living in their homes for decades.
Holiday was originally designed in Utah to be the rural area, no sidewalks. The homes are huge lots, a lot of horse property. A lot of people wanted to live in Holiday just for if they had that, what do you call it, the prefix on your phone. That was kind of prestigious. I didn't move there for that reason.
I've grown up there for actually the last 35 years, and it's very friendly. Like, we all know each other. I mean, we truly know each other, even, blocks around. And we all watch each other. They have like neighborhood watch and stuff like that.
Tawnee wore her heart on her sleeve and would often leave love letters for family and friends.
I found notes all over my house that she would maybe come and visit on a Sunday afternoon, and she'd put notes in my drawers or in a phone book or something. I would find little stickies of, "Grandma, I love you." It's kind of crazy when I still find another note tucked away someplace, or Facebook pops up little notes from Tawnee, and I go, where did that come from? "Grams, you're just so lovely." And she's put a big sunshine on it. Yeah. She had high aspirations of being famous and going places, and that just made me feel good, because once she started going to school and stuff, I could see that it could really happen.
She'd buy all these wild and crazy outfits, like totally off of what her friends wore or anything, but she always had an entourage behind her of friends. So it was funny, her own little style, but the hair always had to be done perfect.
Tawnee was the type of person that you wished to be. Like, when you met that person, that's who you wanted to be. She was perfect and she was nice, no matter who you were.
She never did take like acting lessons or anything, but she sang, she wrote a little music.
She wanted to go places in life. She wanted to, travel and go to California, and she wanted to live freely.
She loved animals. I called her the animal lady because anything she could pick up. She had, I don't know how many cats.
But at 17 years of age, Tawnee's life takes a drastic turn. She starts experimenting with drugs and smoking marijuana. While smoking in a car, Tawnee is arrested for possession of narcotics.
I wasn't happy with it, and I went to the court and tried to be stern and didn't want her doing that, but it was a paraphernalia ticket for a pipe, I guess. And I think the judge threw the book at her too hard.
There was another family member involved who kind of was insistent that Tawnee go to DT before things got worse on her end with drugs.
Following her arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia in June 2010, Tawnee is ordered by a judge to be moved from home detention, known as DT, to a juvenile behavioral health treatment facility for 90 days. It is here, at age 17, that Tawnee meets Victoria Mendoza.
When I went to visit her there, that's when she said, "Hey Mom, I've met someone here, and you're gonna think it's really weird, but I met this person here, and it's someone that's been really good to me in here, but it's really weird. You're gonna think it's strange because it's a girl." Victoria looked like a guy at the time, but it's a girl's facility. I said, "What are you talking about? Like a little friend in here?" And she's being like really nice to me, but she was hinting that she liked her. And I said, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" And she said, "I think I kind of like her."
In 2009, while serving time in the Salt Lake City Youth Treatment Center for marijuana possession, 17-year-old Tawnee Baird meets Victoria Ashley Mendoza, who has a troubled history.
I know that she ran away from home. I know that her dad molested her when she was very young. I know that he was put in prison. I know that he hung himself. She was the youngest of 6 kids, raised by a mother who was extremely religious. Victoria can quote from the Bible. She knows her Bible. And she spent every Sunday at home with a pink dress on, studying the Bible.
But it wasn't long before Victoria Mendoza started rebelling against the strict religious life at home.
She had some violent offenses, some assault offenses, some theft offenses in the past when she was younger, mostly as a juvenile. But you definitely saw more of a violent criminal history versus Tawnee, who just had the one paraphernalia charge.
After serving 90 days, Tawnee is released and is soon followed by Victoria. Tawnee introduces Victoria to her family, and their relationship seems to blossom.
At that time, Tawnee had her own bedroom downstairs, and Victoria would come see her. They had been spending time together, and seemed really nice, and she'd been meeting my other children.
But shortly into their relationship, Victoria receives bad news that changes the dynamic.
Victoria's mother all of a sudden got breast cancer, and the cancer was aggressive.
Tawnee called me and said, "Dad, Victoria's mom's about ready to die." And I said, I'll be right there. I'm actually coming down the canyon." So there was a bunch of people. It was in her own apartment there in Ogden. And I walked in and I said, she was almost gone. And I just said, it was very nice meeting you, and thank you for what you've done for my daughter as she stayed up here with you, and don't worry, I'll take care of Victoria, and comfort her, and I walked out and she died.
Following her mother's death, Victoria is embraced and welcomed into Tawnee's family like one of their own. Despite their reservations, Tawnee's family and friends accept Victoria.
I treated her just like family. Tawnee wanted me to treat her normal, and we did. That's the way my family is. They're like, "Hello, how are you? Welcome. Have a bite to eat." And you don't have to dredge up anything from the past, and let's go forward and see what happens.
I think Dana had as much faith in Victoria as Tawnee did, in the fact that this is a young girl. She just needs guidance. We want to help her change. I don't think that Dana was particularly pleased with the relationship between Tawnee and Victoria, but I think that she was trying to support the relationship because she knew how much it meant to Tawnee.
However, the relationship becomes codependent and is not as happy as their social media posts portray.
She was jealous of just Tawnee could make friends and had tons of friends and would meet new ones every day. She got jealous of some of the friends of Tawnee's that she'd had for years, and even guy friends that she'd hang out with all the time. And I thought they were dating, and no, they were just friends.
Victoria had a very hard time being with somebody with Tawnee who was completely the opposite. And I think she wanted to bring Tawnee down to her level of darkness, and that they would foster their relationship in that darkness instead of Tawnee's light, because Victoria wasn't comfortable in the light. If you'll notice pictures, Victoria's always in the back. She's always in the background. Tawnee's always in the front. Tawnee's always smiling. Victoria's always stale-faced. She's dark. There's just an aura about her that eludes darkness. But I totally recognize that she was young, and that however she got that darkness may not have been her fault. Sometimes environment and a dark personality make the worst combinations.
Victoria has an obsession with knives and carries one around with her.
I didn't know she carried the knife all the time. I know who gave her the knife, and he was incredibly horrified about it, that he gave her a knife for Christmas or something. Yeah, that's not a good sign when people are carrying knives.
Tawnee's friends become concerned as unhealthy traits start appearing in the relationship.
Victoria rubbed me wrong. I had the dad gut feeling that something wasn't right about her, that little girl.
It was a little volatile at times. They would get into some physical altercations that didn't cause terrible injury, but that they would hit each other, pull each other's hair.
My daughter's tooth got knocked out. Everybody involved that knew about it said that it was Tawnee that didn't want me to know. Nope, tell my dad, don't tell my dad. Not knowing it was Victoria.
Now all these red flags start to pop up, and they kind of put it together that, yeah, it wasn't the most healthy relationship.
A few months into the relationship, Victoria tells Tawnee that she has slept with someone else. The relationship briefly breaks down, but Victoria takes to social media in an effort to win Tawnee back.
Just look at all the feelings that and everything we've been through when we first met each other in our program, and then when we got out. Besides the I did, and all the little notes that you've wrote me, and all this that you got me, and all that means a lot to me, and I don't want to lose you at all. Like, I really, really, really do love you, and I'm really sorry for everything I did, and I'm just wanting to have you back in my arms again and treat you better than I ever treated any other girl before. Because I want to be with somebody, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get her back instead of letting her walk free and letting her go to somebody else. That's not what I want. I want her with me, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do in my power. But until then, I'm not single. I'm waiting for somebody. Actually, look. See, you made me this letter. And you made me this one. Okay, look. All of our pictures because we love each other. When you didn't make that for nothing, just because you're bored, you made it for a reason. And I want you back a lot, and I miss you a lot. And I just want to ask you if you'll be my girlfriend again. And I love you so much. And you tell me you love me more than the stars times 93. Well, I love you more than the planets and the stars. Around the world, around Mars, around Pluto, back to Mars, back to the Earth, back to the moon, of times 195. I love you.
Tawnee's parents want them to separate, but despite numerous breakups, the relationship continues.
I'm like, you need to get out of this relationship, Tawnee. You know, this is sorry. You know, you two fighting all the time. It's not going to get any better.
It isn't long before even Tawnee seems to sense the relationship is becoming too dangerous.
Tawny called me on a Friday night, pretty late, and she said, Grams, if you don't get Vicky away from me, she's going to kill me. And I just said, look, Tawny, just get away from her, leave her alone, get some space between you two, and both talk when you're calmed down about how you're going to separate. So the next morning, I didn't even sleep that night. The next morning I went to the house and I'm like, I want to talk to both of you right now. And we sat down and they were all cute and huggy. And I'm like, that wasn't funny. That wasn't funny. You guys have to figure out when you're calm like this and you keep repeating this history of fighting and everything, of how to survive without each other and how to go your separate ways, because this isn't working. And they were like, well, it's okay, Grams, it's all worked out now.
The relationship between Victoria and Tawnee continues for another 5 years, until one night on October 18th, 2014, police receive a 911 call.
You see this stuff on TV or on the news, you don't ever think it's going to happen to you. And it's taken years for me to even realize what really happened. It's the worst thing could ever happen, is to lose your child.
At 12:44 a.m. on October 18th, 2014, police in Ogden, Utah respond to a 911 call reporting a stabbing homicide.
911, what is the address and city of your emergency?
I have to report a murder.
Okay, do you know who was murdered?
Yeah, her name's Tawnee.
We had multiple calls. We had 3 friends of the suspect. They reported that anywhere from something bad has happened to that somebody may be dead in the parking lot.
All police knew at this point was that a fight had broken out between 2 girlfriends, Tawnee Baird and Victoria Mendoza.
Victoria was waiting for the police to come, and so she wanted to surrender. Other people calling in and not knowing what's going on at a scene of a murder is odd. Why are you calling the police and you're not there, or you're around the corner, or wherever it might be? And that's what we found in this. It's like, well, who's calling the police, and why are they telling us that there's somebody laying on the ground that wants to give up? It's strange. It was a church, and it has a rear side parking lot, and there was a vehicle there.
When police arrive, they discover Victoria Mendoza lying on the ground covered in blood.
Initially, when officers arrived on scene, they saw her. She was bloody. She had some blood on her hands. They secured her, talked to her for a minute, put her in handcuffs, put her in the back of a police vehicle, and then continued their investigation.
Officers approach the car and discover Tawnee Baird lying in the passenger seat.
It was very bloody on the inside of the vehicle. Tawnee was in the front passenger seat, face into the backrest of the front passenger seat. It was described by one of the patrol officers as she was crumpled up, which was an interesting phrase to use, and that's exactly what she appeared to be, was crumpled up in the front seat. There was quite a bit of blood all over in the cushions of the vehicle, quite a bit of blood on the floorboards, and immediately officers observed that there was a partially open folded knife on the rear right floorboard, so on the back seat.
As officers are searching the car, they discover a small dog.
There was a little puppy that was in the back seat, When officers arrived, a black Labrador, Hanson was the dog's name.
The police found him scared under the passenger seat, under where Tawnee was found, full of blood.
Animal control responded and took that dog. We collected the whole entire car, and the car was impounded and transported to a bay in our crime scene investigation unit at the Weber County Sheriff's Department. And it was locked there. So we collected everything from inside that car. We collected the knife that was in the back seat, and ultimately it was discovered that that was indeed the murder weapon.
When Tawnee's body is moved to the medical examiners for autopsy, the true extent of her injuries is revealed.
Homicides are prioritized for autopsy. So the next day, Detective Griffin and Detective Gardner went to the autopsy, and in this case, it took a long time because there were so many wounds. All of those wounds have to be documented. They have to be photographed. Patterns have to be discovered in an effort to determine what the cause and manner of death is. They discovered that she indeed, that her carotid artery was severed, that there were other stab wounds at the base of her skull, that she had the big slicing wound to her head, and that she died of blood loss. It wasn't until later, after the autopsy, that detectives discovered that she was stabbed 46 times, violently. 46 times is a lot. She had one that appeared to be a defensive wound that went through and through her hand. So at one time, at one point in the murder, she was fighting. She was fighting.
Tawnee's best friend Lacey learns of the attack and contacts Dana, Tawnee's mother.
Someone contacted me and said that Victoria had stabbed Tawnee. And I was just like, what are you talking about? So I called Tawnee, and Tawnee didn't answer. And then I called her mom.
Lacey called me at about 5 a.m. and I'm like, why is Lacey calling me? And she goes, Dana. And she goes, is Tawnee's car there? I looked out in the driveway and I could see Tawnee's car had not come home. So I'm like, Lacey, what the heck is going on? And Lacey just hung up on me. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I started freaking out and calling all over the place.
Within about 2 hours, a policeman drove up and just confirmed that Tawnee was dead and that Vicky was in jail. And it's like the worst freaking day of my life, of our lives.
Dana called me and said, Casey, Vicky killed Tawnee last night. I said, what? Vicky killed Tawnee last night. And she stabbed her to death.
I drove to the Ogden Police Department. I said, I heard my friend had got stabbed to death, and they took me upstairs, and they told me my friend was stabbed to death. I was devastated, and so was my mom, because my mom knew my best friend very well.
Victoria Mendoza is taken to the station for questioning and talks investigators through the events of that night. She admits to the killing, but says she only stabbed Tawnee twice.
Detective Travis Griffin was the lead investigator, and within 45 minutes to an hour after we arrived, he sat down with her and interviewed her. He was shocked at how many times she was stabbed. He was shocked at how you could stab somebody, and did ask her, how could you do this? I was upset. I was angry, Victoria said. I went black. These are common for murderers to say in response. It's like an excuse. And they may even say, and I think she did in her interview, they may even say, this is an excuse, what I did was wrong, but you have to understand, I was really mad. And so it's minimizing their actions when they say that. And she's no different.
Investigators speak with members of Victoria Mendoza's inner circle and gain crucial insight into her state of mind at the time of the murder.
There was some family and friends that were interviewed on Victoria's side. They supplied some pretty good information. Some of these people were the ones that called 911, one of the 3 calls. And so they got a better understanding of how strange that whole scene was. She was so upset or enraged that she would call friends instead of calling 911 to get help or to turn herself in. Victoria FaceTimed the scene to a friend of hers. And so we have the timestamp of that, but we don't have the video. But that tells you something about the mindset of people in social media right now. Even back in 2014, it was newer. It was a new technology to be able to do that. But to take the time to do that after you've just killed your girlfriend, I can't wrap my head around that.
Victoria is charged with first-degree murder.
Crimes aren't perfect. They don't fit into this little box as far as charging and convicting people. And so you have to fit it in the best box you can. And in this case, it was difficult to find that premeditation. And so we charged with murder 1.
Tawnee's father, Casey, collects the puppy, Handsome, and remembers how Tawnee wanted the dog and was devoted to him.
My girlfriend at the time brought a puppy out of this trailer. It was the cutest puppy. It was like teeny, barely born. And I'm like, no, you don't need a dog. Well, she took a picture of him and she sent it to my daughter, Tawnee. My phone's ringing off the hook. Please, Dad, you need to get this dog. I said, okay, if I can name him Handsome. She goes, Handsome? That's stupid, Dad. No, I don't like that name, and hangs up. About 20 minutes later, phone rings, it's Tawnee. I love that name, Dad, you promised. I was to keep the dog, but she was going to babysit it. That was part of the deal. I had to be to work early, like 6 in the morning, but she really didn't like early mornings that I knew of. That little girl was at my door 7 a.m. every single morning picking up that dog to take him with her all day. She just loved him. That dog is my counselor. He's my best friend. And he comforts me. He's now about 6-7 years old.
Completely grief-stricken, Tawnee's parents and siblings are struggling after her murder and are contacted by a medium.
My daughter's best friend, Lacey, got the number of this medium, this lady, and Lacey calls me after she got done. She said, you got to hear this. You got to hear this. It's a lot about you. And I go, what? Whoa. Medium? What? I'm like, do. No. It's okay, Lacey. I'm okay. This medium, she says, you talked to Tawnee's dad? And Lacey says, yeah. You need to send him a message. I grabbed my daughter's mom, Dana, and we rode out and we met Cheryl.
I asked him what the ladybugs meant to him. I'm seeing ladybugs all over. What does that mean to you? And he hesitated at first to answer me. And so I just quickly went into something else that she was showing me. And then I told him she was below him. She was with a grandmother. I do remember that. And she wanted him to know that she was okay. That she's around him a lot, and that he could always see her in those ladybugs.
I called my daughter Ladybug from the moment she came out of Mama's belly, and I'm like, oh my God, she's here. You know, and I could feel something. My legs felt really weird. And it was Tawnee. She was with us. She was with Mom and Dad. That's why I made sure that me and Mom and Dad went, you know. It was crazy. She saved my life. Cheryl did. And the reason I say that, I went once after that, or once or twice after me and Tawnee's mom went to the medium. And one of those meetings with Cheryl, I walked in, I threw a $100 bill on the table, and I said, "Don't F with me. Is this real? What, I mean, I don't want to, I can't handle this." I said, "I had my AR-15 in my mouth yesterday. And my dog, Handsome, that was in the car the night of the murder, looked at me like, God, you're an idiot." Just like that. And I pulled the gun out of my mouth. I couldn't leave him. I couldn't do that to my family. You know, we're already all hurting. But Cheryl, when I threw that $100 bill down, I said, "Don't F with me." She flipped out. Boy, I got the riot act from her.
I thought that in the beginning, and I was told after, that he was going to take himself out. And I told him, because she had said to me, "Dad, you won't get to me. You tell my dad he won't get to me. He can't do this. He needs to stay here. He needs to help others." She was very adamant that he be a force for her, because she can't be a force for herself.
As Tawnee Baird's family struggle to accept what has happened, all eyes fall to the court, to the judge, and the hope for justice.
I want her to sit out there for the rest of her life and think about what happened.
Investigators in Ogden, Utah are trying to piece together the events leading up to the murder of 21-year-old Tawnee Baird on October 18th. They have Tawnee's girlfriend, Victoria Mendoza, in custody, charged with first-degree murder, and now they need the evidence to take it to court.
How do you stab someone you love 46 times? That's Victoria. That's a crazy monster devil.
At some stage over the course of the night, Victoria becomes jealous and they start arguing.
That night of the murder, I think there was a guy Connie was friends with, and he was at that party, and that's what pissed Victoria off.
They started bickering about small stuff, but they seemed to get over it. And then we left, and they were bickering. They dropped me off at my house, and they were kind of bickering a little bit more. And they said, "Bye, we love you, Lacey, bye." And that was pretty much it.
And it was after that drop-off, they got back on the freeway, and from what I can gather in the confession, they started driving northbound on the I-15 toward Ogden, and that's when she mentions that they drive through Farmington at some point. The stabbing occurs sometime in that time frame between dropping the friend off and the police responding to the parking lot at the church.
The jealousy was, she wants to break up with me because she has somebody else in her life. And I don't know who that is, but that's where that jealousy rage comes in, that you're leaving me for somebody, even if there wasn't somebody else.
I think Victoria had held it in. They'd been with some friends, and I think Vicky was really sensing that Tawnee meant it about breaking things off totally, permanently.
From the evidence, it's clear that Victoria quickly overpowered Tawnee.
While my daughter was doing 70 miles an hour down the freeway, she started stabbing her. There was 22 stab wounds in my daughter's right arm, trying to fight her off.
Been doing this for 25 years. And I haven't seen that much rage inside of a car between two people ever in my career. 46 is almost 50. 50 is a lot of stabs, stabbing, motion, energy. 50 times. That's a long time, especially if you're fighting for your life.
Somehow the car got pulled over, and Victoria rolled Tawnee over into the passenger seat, and then she drove her to the church in Ogden, where this church, it was like Victoria's family church. And I actually heard when Victoria would get in trouble, she would go to this church and sit on the steps.
Deemed mentally competent to stand trial and with the evidence stacked against her, Victoria Mendoza pleads guilty.
They bring Victoria in, her attorney walks in, and they're telling the judge about it. And all of a sudden she goes, Victoria screams, "I'm guilty, I'm guilty, I did it." And we're all like, what? And the judge is like, whoa, 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 stop. Are you on any drugs? Or, goes through the regular motions, I guess, of what a judge would ask when the defendant freaks out. I did it, I want this over with. I want this over with for Tawnee's mom and dad. I just want it over. And, the judge is asking her again, did someone threaten you? Or, no, I'm guilty, I did it. So they set another court date, and the last one was a sentencing.
Tawnee's family plead with the judge to put the 23-year-old holiday woman in prison for the rest of her life.
I want her to be in prison and have the effects of prison. And I want her to be sitting in there knowing what she did and be feeling the guilt and the shame and the horror of what she did to my daughter.
I read a 7-page letter that I'd wrote. I said, how could you do this? It was so unnecessary. Not only me, but Dana, my daughter's mom, is taking good care of you. And this is what we get? And there better not be a parole date. It better be life without parole. But I talked about, how much I love my daughter and how much this sentencing means to me, that I don't have to worry about this anymore. I don't want to have to worry about her getting out. Well, that didn't work out that way. She got 16 to life. She has a parole date in 2039. Now, I've been promised by a lot of prominent people, attorneys, and people involved in the case that she's not going to get out.
That doesn't mean she'll be released in 16 years. It just means that at that time, the Utah Board of Pardons can determine how much more time she needs to do before they want to give her a chance to be in society.
When she is sentenced, Victoria Mendoza seems to accept the horror of her actions, but does not appear repentant.
She said that she's the monster, and she didn't seem like she felt remorseful, no.
There was no remorse. She's crazy. She's a devil. And she better not get out.
The tragedy has left a lasting impact on all those involved.
It's destroyed my family. My kids are distraught. They've lost their big sister. I've lost my daughter. It's my firstborn daughter. It's horrible.
I have 3 daughters, and they're all adults now, but she's just a young girl. And when I saw the pictures, because I wasn't there on scene, I saw things after the fact. That's the first thought you have is for your children or your sibling. I think the dog affected people because there's a dog on scene at a homicide. It's not very common inside of a car. Little bloody paws. That's something that you'll never get out of your head. I think, me personally, and looking at the photographic evidence, the look on her face. on Tawnee's face. I'll never get rid of that. I'll always have that in my mind. Fear.
She's in prison. Her life is over. I think that's the best you can do. I don't know what else you do unless you did the death penalty and eye for an eye, life for a life. A lot of people think like that. I guess I can't.
Victoria Mendoza is still serving her sentence at the Utah State Prison, Lone Peak Facility, for the first-degree murder of Tawnee Baird. Her original parole hearing is scheduled for October 2039.